Here's a quick June 2026 update for 80016, which includes about 36 neighborhoods such as Heritage Eagle Bend, Talon's Reach, Saddle Rock Golf neighborhoods, South Shore, Foxfield, Blackstone, Beacon Point, and much more. Well, the market has changed, but it has not collapsed. Buyers have a little more room to breathe, sellers can still do well, but pricing matters more than it did 2 years ago. As you can see, the June closed listings is 874. Now that's slightly down from 2025, but still it's above the 2024. So closed sales are not falling off a cliff. Like I said, we had 874 closed listings compared with 907 last year and 858 in 2024. That tells me there is still real buyer and seller activity in 80016. Now, again, the market is slower, but it is still functioning. In other words, demand is a little bit softer, but it's not gone. Let's go ahead and look at the median price. So the median price has softened a little bit. It is 759,000, which is down about 3.3% from 2025, but still it's near the 2024 levels. For buyers, that means there may be better opportunities than we saw during the hotter markets. For sellers, this means do not price based on last year's peak. What this basically means is that realistic pricing protects the sellers. Moving along to months of supply. Well, basically inventory is up, so buyers have more choice. Like I said, the month supply is now at about 3.1 months, and that's a little bit higher than the 2.3 months in 2024. This is probably one of the biggest changes the buyers can feel. So more supply usually means less urgency and a little more negotiating room. In other words, it's more balanced, but it's not a buyer's market, a landslide by any means. Let's go ahead and look at the sales to list ratio, or basically the closed price to the list price. Now, 99.2%. So this stat is actually very important for sellers because even with more inventory, the median home price is still closing at about 99.2% of the list price. So the right homes are still selling very close to asking price, but overpricing can still cost you time and momentum. Basically, pricing strategy beats what we call wishful pricing. And right now, things are still looking really good for the sellers. Finally, people are always asking, well, how long does it take to sell a house? So let's go to look at that one. Now, the number of days in the MLS, it does take longer. So median days in the MLS in 2024 was 19. In 25, it was 28, and in 26, it was 30. So homes are taking a little bit longer than they did in 2024 or even in 2025. Now, what you have to remember is within all these different neighborhoods, these stats are a conglomeration of single family homes, possibly duplexes, possibly townhomes. So each one is a different class and actually has different averages, medians, and closing price ratios. So again, the median days in the MLS is now 30 days. And again, like I said, that's up from 19 days in 2024. So basically, buyers, they don't have to rush as much. Sellers, your first 2 to 3 weeks on the market are still very important. The takeaway is this: 80016 is basically moving towards a more balanced market. Buyers again should watch for homes that have been sitting a little longer. Sellers should price with today's data, not last year's emotions. Now, if you are thinking about buying or selling near 80016, reach out to me and I'll help you find the right numbers about your specific situation. Thanks, Bill Fung. Have a wonderful day.